Nabi's brother who I saw, simple man. He was the sole inheritor, he got everything. Who is this matter? Our whole life tuned for this. It has affected our dua, it affected our prayer. Man, attributes his dunya success also. They are not by president. And in this far as sustenance is concerned, Allah might even give his enemies more. And how Allah says in Quran, if it was not for fear, not that Allah fears, don't get me wrong. If it was not for fear that Muslims would become kafirs, Allah would have given kafirs homes made of gold and silver and given them bodies as if there was armament on that body so that no sickness could come to them. But the fear that Muslims was also leave Islam. Allah's relation is different, my brothers. The necessities of human beings. Today, man's fear is this. Rosy. Eventually, what has happened? Exactly like a cat behind mice and a dog behind bone. Morning to evening, what is it? Running. Huh? And where the grass, exactly like the cow looks, the grass looks green on the other side. From here we'll go there. From there we'll go here. How many left you wives, children for not years and years to come? Just this. And Allah's promise is where, my brothers. وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. The one who fears Allah, what Allah says. The one who fears Allah, Allah says in Quran, Allah says we'll give him sustenance from unseen sources. ऐसे जगह से रोजी देगा, ऐसे जगह से जहां उसका वहम और गुमान नहीं था. Unimaginary sources. हर तंगी से हम रास्ता खुलेगा. From every narrowness will open a road. और दिल की दुख को भी अल्लाह दूर करेगा. And Allah will remove grief from the heart. Astaghfar, this is the promise of Allah. Not on a job or a shop or a degree or a position or a profession. We have been sent for the hereafter. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. We have been sent for the worship of Allah. Obviously, the worship of Allah is not salah, fasting only. It's that entire way of life. Be it in a job, be it in a shop, wherever it is. Men under the command of Allah. My beloved brothers, the tragedy of all is exactly what the hadith says so beautifully. Allah treats his slave according to his expectation. And in the dhanni of DB, Allah treats it, Allah bande ke saath aise maamla karte hai, jise bande ka wan. Like how we expect, so Allah Ta'ala treats us. A Muslim's rosy, a mommy's rosy is supposed to be the easiest. My beloved brothers, look in the annals of history. Imagine Sahaba Ikram Ridwan Ajmain from the inception of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. My dear brothers, their financial condition was such, or rather their political condition was such, that they were the slaves of slaves. And when they took this kalima, 13 years of hardship, Makkah Mukarramah. In the period of Medina Munawwara, which Rasul alayhi salam, my beloved brothers, voluntarily, voluntarily. Once Jibreel alayhi salam comes to the house of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Nabi alayhi salam complains to him, there's no food in the house of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah's immediate reaction is, oh Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if you want, we'll make the lands of Makkah Mukarramah into gold, and it will go with you where you want it to go. And Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Ya Allah, give me one day food so I can be thankful to thee, and keep me hungry one day so that I can cry with friends. Imagine that hardship. Allah, how many times in his house, for days and days. Aisha radiallahu anha says, there was a period of 3 moons, that is the equivalent of 2 months. The stove was not lit in that house. They said, how did you manage? He said, 2 black things. He said, what was that? He said, dates and water. Dates and water. Can you imagine? Say, Allah Akbar, my beloved brothers. In the expedition of the trenches, Then Allah, when the Sahabi comes to Rasulullah alayhi salam, lifts his up his jubbah. And he shows that I'm going to fast a stone fast into my belly, stone to numb the hunger. Rasulullah alayhi salam lifts up keys and shows that I got 2 stones fast into my belly. His entire life. Yet, my beloved brothers, after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, can you imagine Medina Hora? There was one time when Rasulullah alayhi salam was leading the salah, when the entire front surf fell down because out of hunger. And yet after Rasulullah alayhi salam's time, in the period of Allahu Akbar, conquest started. In the time of Abu Bakr, it started already. By the time of Umar, beloved friends, Allah, but look at Sahaba's conviction on the words of Rasulullah alayhi salam. Nabi alayhi salam, in the battle of the trenches, there's a big boulder, and Sahaba couldn't break it as they were making these trenches. So Nabi alayhi salam said to them, either Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam took the axe or whatever and hit the boulder, and there was a spark. He said, Inshallah, we'll conquer Rome. To who is speaking what people who got stones fastened to their bellies, that they will conquer the superpower. And the next one, he said, Inshallah, we'll conquer Persia. Can you imagine who he's speaking to? At that time, one Sahabi says, when we conquer Persia, I want the princess's hand. Now, how does it make sense? They got stones fastened to their bellies, and the Nabi Islam is promising them what? The superpowers. And then Sahabi says, Wallah, I saw that day when Persia was conquered, and she came on a white mule, and the Sahabi took the string of the reins of this mule and said, you are mine, you are mine. So at that time, Khalid bin Walid asked, where's your proof? So the Sahabi said, Allahu Akbar. The Sahabi said, another Sahabi was standing there, he said, I was there when Nabi alayhi salam promised him that he can get her, he can get her hand. Anyway, she was an old lady by that time already. So the royal family came and said, any amount you tell us, but we want our sister back. So this Sahabi said, I want 100. You know 100? How much was that? Not 200, 10,000. 100 times 100, 10,000. So this other Sahabi looked at him, he said to him, you're asking for such a small amount, you should have asked for a big amount. So he said, well, I didn't know there's a bigger amount. So this was the knowledge as far as dunya. But the knowledge about Akhirah and the promise of Allah. Today we got this dunya, we know dunya, we don't know Akhirah. We forgot we're going to die. And at the end of the way, what do we take with us? What's coming with us? Kumail radiallahu walked with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and came to a grave of Qabristan. And Kumail radiallahu walking with Ali radiallahu. And Ali radiallahu said, oh, the inhabitants of this grave, as far as you are concerned, your wives are widows, your children are orphans. The money you have left is well being distributed. Then he said, now you tell us what is your point. I said, Ali radiallahu cried so much. It wasn't a short while after that, Allah Ta'ala took Ali radiallahu away from his soul. So Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, every person has got 3 brothers or 3 partners. When he dies, what is his profession? I'm expounding his position. Profession, position, Allahu Akbar, property, all these things, political position, economical position. When he dies, wallahi, all of them divorce him. That's why when Sikandar was leaving the world, he ruled the world for 200 years. Yet when he was going, he told his mother, please take my hands and put it out of the coffin, the shower. So the mother said to him, why, my son? He said, so Sikandar can also show the world I came with nothing and I'm doing away with nothing. Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, all these will divorce you. And the next one is who? Your kith and kin, your family. They bring you to the grave. If they're good, they pray for you. And if they're bad, they might even shed big crocodile tears, wait for the body to go in, and then the fight for the inheritance starts. Like how it is said, when nobody had watches, everybody had time to visit the sick, to visit the weak, to visit the poor.
Now everybody's got watches. Nobody's got time. Anybody meeting? I'm busy, busy, busy. What? Busy what? He said, one janaza. Find us in Johannesburg. So man came to the janaza. He said, you know what? Come, let's wait for him to be buried. Because after janaza namaz, we make the janaza namaz, and after the burial, I think, I don't know, in the Qabristan. We don't do it in the masjid. We do it in the Qabristan. So brother said, I got no time. He went, met an accident, and he's lying next to the person who he said he got no time. So the second one is your family. They'll shed big crocodile tears. And then the fight for the inheritance starts. Like how the one person said, a nice food say, he says, जब मैं और मेरा भाई बच्चा था 20 दफा रोजाना लड़ता था सोने से पहले गली मिला के सो जाता अब तो एक दफा लड़ता हूँ और मौत तक आपस में बात नहीं करता. So when me and my brothers were small, we fought 20 times a day. At night we hugged each other and slept. Now we fight one time and till death we don't speak to each other. Salah is easy, fasting is easy, Nafil Roza is easy. But when it comes to inheritance, two brothers don't speak to each other. How is it possible? Is it true or not, Doctor? And then Nabi Islam said the third one is who? Allah. He said the third one is your Iman and your Amal. He said your Iman will come on one side, your Amal will come on the other side. The whole body will be surrounded by this. And they'll be the defenses for any punishment to come close. And then Rasul said, Allah Akbar, imagine the Mubarak Quran, only one surah will be like a bird that comes on that Mubarak Quran. And say, Ya Allah, take me out of your kitab if you do not forgive the inhabitant of this Quran. Then Rasul asked, who is the best brother? So my brothers, Allah sent us in this world, not for this world. This world is the Jannah and ours, it's a prison. Here we can't do what we want. My brothers, these things that we got, don't get impressed by it. They say when you haven't got, you got one problem, you haven't got. When you got it, you got two problems. One is not to lose what you got, and the other is to increase what you got. Old men, the rich fear poverty more than the poor fear poverty. For that we have to hear, this heart is to hear. Allah is the giver, besides Allah none. Allah is the protector, besides Allah none. Allah is the maker, besides Allah none. Life in Allah's hand, death in Allah's hand, health in Allah's hand, sickness in Allah's hand. And speak about death, which is a reality. Allah, who will leave this world here too. One is the guest house of Allah, is called Jannah, and the other is called the prison of Allah, which is called Jahannam. And the guest house of Allah, Allah, that's that little 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 100 years to the most. Man lived his life according to the desire of Allah, the pleasure of Allah. Allah Akbar. In Akhirat, what Allah will give him. Forget Akhirat in dunya. That house that got deen. Allah's promises that we Muhammad. Today we got palaces but no Muhammad. We got beds but we can't get sleep. Anybody who asks, so busy, he says, I can't get sleep. Also tension, what attention? What tension? Just for this little. Whose worry is that Akhirat? Whose pain is that Akhirat? Sahaba made that such an effort on Akhirat, such an effort. That actually death became beloved. Can you imagine a Sahabi, Allah, as he's being speared with an arrow, and the arrow hits him. He's about to leave the world. It is words, by the law of the Kaaba, I am successful. The killer is asking the man next to him, what success is he talking about? He said his soul has already spent to Jannah. Brothers, that's a reality. Look at the promise of Allah. After happiness, there will never be sadness. After life, there will never be death. After youth, there will never be old age. And after wealth and good, there will never, ever be poverty. Can there be a place like that? You see, after seeing the ni'mats of Jannah, can you imagine its rivers, Allah Akbar. River of water, pure. River of milk, Allah Akbar, unadulterated. River of pure honey, Allah Akbar. And you can't imagine fruit of desire. And you eat one, the bite will be better than the other, than the last one. Yeah, in the dunya, the first bite is the best, the next one can never be like that one. And after all these ni'mats of Allah, these ni'mats of Jannah that Allah Ta'ala opens, my beloved, there's more in that when a man will see Allah, all these ni'mats of Jannah will look like nothing. And imagine Allah will make an announcement, is there anything else you want, my slaves? And the slaves will ask the learned ulama for that. Allah will say after that, oh my slaves, from today I'm happy with you and will never be sad to you again. They say that announcement of Jannah, all the bounties of Jannah is nothing compared to them. And my brothers, how far away are we from that? What's the expectation of life? Life is a thing that every man feels. Life is a thing that every man feels. Death is a thing that comes to everyone. If life was a thing that money could buy, then the rich would live and the poor would die. But Allah in His wisdom made it so. White, black, rich, poor, educated, uneducated, healthy, sick, villager, city dwellers, everyone is true. You go to the Qabristan, the Qabr is talking. Yesterday, the man in the Qabr is actually telling us, yesterday, I was where you were. Tomorrow you'll be where I am. Rasulullah never said doctor is intelligent, president is intelligent, accountant is intelligent, alim is intelligent, half is intelligent. What do Islam say? The one who remembers his death and prepares for his death, he is the most intelligent and the most resolute of men. There's no tomorrow for us. What's the most dangerous? High hopes, great expectation, inordinate longings that leaves us with an occupation that gives us no spare time. A poverty that never ends, a necessity that never ends. We've been sent for somewhere else. But you don't get disturbed. What is this? These are the attractive fruitlessness. There's no truth in it. In our own lifetime, how many we've seen rich become poor? How many presidents you've seen turn to presidents? How many heroes have become zeros? How can we put faith and security on a world which has got no guarantee? The only guarantee is called the Akhirat, my beloved. We, as just beloved, what type of people?
23.
623. I won't take long, my beloved brothers. Allah Akbar, we have been sent, selected. Allah calls us the best. Taken out for what? Our sustenance is taken care of by Allah. My beloved, Allah will give us in the most beautiful way. Not only us. Imagine Allah is promising, my beloved brothers, Allah Akbar, a man will come to Allah on the day of Qiyamah. Allah will come. And Allah will ask him, what you did for my day? He said, Ya Allah, because of my wife and my children and a good life on this earth, I didn't have time for your deen. Allah will say, there, take its due. And as regards your wife and children, they've also been left in a miserable plight. But miserable plight doesn't mean you don't have money. Sometimes you have more misery with more money. Imagine children disobedient. In my country, one day a man standing at the grave, open grave, actually wishing, I hope my son was in here. Can money pull that misery away? Who's a wealthy man? Who's got food for the next meal? Who's got no debts on his head? Who's got a body that can undergo hardship, meaning hearty healing? Who's got a wife that is honest as regards his modesty and his respect and his wealth is concerned, and has got children who become fullness of desire. Does that person need anything else in this world? My brothers, aren't we facing the wrong direction? Isn't our efforts towards the wrong things? Imagine like how the masjids are filled in Ramadan. Had they been filled every day, what conditions from the sky would come to us, my brothers? What good conditions would come? On anybody's lips, what? The government is bad. The inflation is high. Who's ever said our actions are wrong? Allahu Akbar. Nabi Sallallahu, imagine a man got 5 salah in his life. My very it is, you see, Rosi ko khenchne wali cheez kya hai? Namaz. The thing to draw your sustenance is what? Salah. Allah's Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, who remembers Allah after Fajr and after Asr, meaning the zikr of Allah. The in-between periods, Allah says, I am sufficient for you. Well, what is Allah's promise? Imagine Allah says in Quran, you give sadaqah, Allah will increase your wealth. And how will you take interest? Allah will not decrease, Allah will destroy your wealth. How? Is it against logic? How does yaqeen come into our heart? It's here, my beloveds. How did faith conceive? Abdullah ibn Masud had many wives, many children. In the last boom of his, he only had daughters. They were all of marriageable age. Sayyidina Usman radiallahu anhu saw the pitiable condition of his dunya wives. Sahaba lived humbly, simply. Allahu Akbar. And he came to him, he said, oh Abdullah, you don't look well. You are sick. He says, yeah, my physician gave it to me. He said, who's your physician? He said, Allah gave it to me. He said, Allah gave me the sickness. He said, can I help you? He said, Allah is there to look after me. And then as the conversation carried on, he said to him, he said, Abdullah, you only got daughters in your house. He said, yes. He said, can I give them a monthly wazifa, a monthly sum? Because you are about to leave the world, can I give them a monthly sum? Abdullah ibn Masud with the help of 2 Sahaba, he got a setup. And he said, oh, sir, oh, Usman, are you in doubt? He said, about what? He said, I've heard the beloved Muhammad say, the one who reads Surah Waqia at night, poverty can never afflict him. I've taught my daughters how to read Surah Waqia. Brothers, today we read it. Do we have faith on it? To believe is this, to get that yaqeen, that faith, that seed in our heart that by the qasam of Allah, Allah is, and besides Allah none. Provider Allah alone, protector Allah alone, giver Allah alone, maker Allah alone, taker Allah alone. Like how it is said, Allah gives, Allah takes, Allah never makes a mistake. Allah, how many, not one home, seeing thousands of homes, and the elderly people will bear testimony to this. How many homes you saw children grow up as orphans, and today are probably the richest people in the world. And how many in the house of billionaires you saw that today virtually starving. This is in whose hand? Allah's Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, you will never die. You will never die until what is meant for you doesn't get to you. So my brothers, how this yaqeen is going to change in our heart? And how is it going to change in the heart of this whole world? Our whole faith is on what we see. How we say going to Pura yaqeen nazar par huzur ki khabar se alke. How that faith can come on the words of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Which one of us doesn't need that? Iman is something that doesn't stay in one place. It either increases or decreases according to the situation. How every heart can hear Allah does. You see, Allah Akbar, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani was a little boy. His mother taught him yaqeen. Whenever he asked for food, she said, make 2 rakat salat. And then she used to put the food in what we call al-mari, the cupboard. And then after that, he makes 2 rakat, she gives him the food. One day, mother is somewhere else, he's somewhere else. Mother comes back. Ask my son, did you eat? The son must have been through so many 2 rakats. What the son says, Allah gave me food from his food. The mother, where she was, she must have been trained. The mother goes down and sits there and says, Ya Allah, I'm happy, not because my son got food to eat, I'm happy you think, Allah, you protected the yaqeen of my child. When the child was of age, meaning 4 or 5, she sent him to study, to get Islamic studies. That time it was different. There was no banks, Google, and before we could just pay. You know, like all these things which have taken us all over. Like how we say we buy things we don't need, with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. And for that one, I owe, it's off to work, I go, no? Everybody will. Allah, so the mother sold 40 gold coins in his vest. But she gave him advice. What advice she gave him? She said, my son, you can die, but you never say a lie. What we would tell our son? If somebody asks you what you got, tell him I got nothing. So the first thing we teach him is what? To lie. And what he taught him. Don't lie, obey Allah. On the way the kids got hold of him, they asked him what you got. He said, I got 40 gold coins. They say you lied. He took him to the leader. Leader said, show it to me. He lifted his jumba, he showed him. He said, my son, what made you speak the truth? He said, my mother said you can die, but you never say a lie. The leader of the cook started weeping. He said, if I also had a mother like this today, I wouldn't be a cook. Brothers, which university can give you this education? Which one can give you this conviction? So for this, my brother, Allah, time is gone. Such a Mubarak time. Look at Allah gave us Ramadan. Shaitans are locked up. Nafil is equal to first. Farz is equal to 71st. Malaika stopped from making zikr of Allah to say Ameen to the du'as of the worshippers. What an opportunity. My beloved brothers, Ramadan. Nabi al-Islam said to the member, at each step he said Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. Sahaba say, we never heard this before. He said what? He said, Jibreel Islam made 3 curses. Say, Ya Allah, who sees his parents in his old age and doesn't get an opportunity, what we say, make their khidmat or look after them, may your curse be upon them, on which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Ameen. He said the second one, he said, who sees the month of Ramadan and is not forgiven by Allah, oh Allah, may your curse be upon him, on which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Ameen. And the third one, who hears your beautiful name and doesn't say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, may your curse be upon him. My beloved brothers, Allah, but don't you think? You know, we were in New Orleans in the year 2000, and I met a taxi driver and asked him, I said, tell me how you changed your life. He said, I was in Zurich in Switzerland working. It was the month of Ramadan. Ramadan had passed, it was Eid's day, and my mother phoned me. And she said to me, my son, Eid Mubarak. And then I burst into tears. I said, I didn't even know it was the month of Ramadan. And Eid already. How many ummatis in the world must be like this? Don't you think we are responsible? We enjoy a beautiful environment. Look at this beautiful environment. How much effort must have been made for that? We were now in a masjid in Cambridge, in Canada. Allah, my dear brothers, after between Asr and Maghrib, I don't know, I think must be over 200-300 people. I don't know how many reciting Quran. I'm saying, Ya Allah, where did all this? But how many hundreds of thousands are not there? This Ramadan, how we can make each one, including ourselves, make a decision that inshallah I'll never miss one salah of Jamaat. This tabligh, what is it, my brothers? How zikr can come in, tilawat. How people can be good to their parents. How we can be sweet and loving to our children. How we can make such an environment. Our Maulana Suleyman Patel used to say an Ajib thing. He said, we forgot Jannat is our house. That's the first sin. Then we forgot to take everybody to Jannat is the purpose of our life. We forgot that. Now Allah forgive us, we put our hands on the Jannat of the Kafir. They also parishan. We also parishan. Is it true or not? So my beloved, in this last few minutes, Allah tell to Allah, nothing from our side. We are not saying our condition. We are not saying our pocket. We are not saying our situation. This is whose day, inshallah, to stand and say, Ya Allah, you accept me for 4 months. Meaning, this is a proposal. 4 months is not the goal. The goal is our whole life, my dear brothers. There is in the gate of Hafsan, where a deep person will be, where you see the Muslim, where you see the Namaz. Who makes the coming of it? Just make a niyyah. We are not saying you can go. We are saying, who's there to ask Allah, Allah, you accept me to go. That's all. Who's there, inshallah? Stand what's up. Who? Stand up by Saad. Masha, what's your name, my son? Huh? Wasim, Allah Ta'ala accept. MashaAllah, who else? Stand. MashaAllah, young and old. Stand, make the niyat. Niyat hamara kaam hai. Le jana Allah ka kaam. Allah, look at our elders. Allah may not take us. Allah may take our children. Allahu Akbar. Hi, MashaAllah, Arif bhai. MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar. Take those names, MashaAllah. Don't leave anybody's name. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Brothers, this is the time. This is the gift you have accepted. If you are again for us, so stand up while you see time. Take the name 4-4. Look at this beautiful youngster. How happy Allah must be. MashaAllah. Allah accept. MashaAllah. Oh, my beloved brother, when to propose, you know, we were in Mombasa. So, MashaAllah. MashaAllah accept. MashaAllah, stand up. He stood up already, but again, Allah take him not twice, many more times. Allah be pleased. You know, we were in Mombasa. So, the one brother is telling me, Allah accept. MashaAllah. One Somalian brother, he was getting married. So his wife is in the salon, dolling herself up. So the next thing he sees on his telephone, your American visa has been granted. Come to Nairobi immediately. What do you think? He waited for the nikah? What do you say, Aisha? What would you do? Sir, what would you do? You know what you do. What do you think? He waited? Gone. What was you think? What do you think was the wife's family's reaction? Say, Alhamdulillah, it's our barakat, he got it. So for dunya, we are so ready. But for deen, what's holding us back? The contradiction, my wife, my child. Allah, but for dunya, say, don't worry, man. The parents of the wife will say, we'll look after. Am I right, John? Is he going to get, what you worry, man? Sell this land. You don't know how much gold you're going to make there. You'll buy 100 times more this land. And yet, is there guarantee for it? How many came and never got anything? Let's make up our hearts, my brother. So today, inshallah, one thing. Allah shukr, alhamdulillah. From here, the last 10 days are there. Today is the 18th night. Wait, there's a Jamaat getting ready for 10 days, inshallah. Who makes niyat for the last 10 days, Jamaat? Stand up, inshallah. Saad is first. Haji Saab. Allah. Who else, inshallah? Last 10 nights of Ramadan. Mashallah, what about this beautiful youngster? Stand up, my boy. Allah Ta'ala accept. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. Take the names, inshallah. What about those beautiful youngsters there at the back also? Stand up, man. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. What about you? That handsome guy standing on the wall. MashaAllah. Arif bhai. Allahu Akbar. Stand up. Make a nice big Jamaat, brothers. Allah, Ramadan away from home. How happy. Huzaifa, Allah Ta'ala accept. Imagine nafil is equal to first 70 times. What reward for a man who goes in the path of Allah for one day? What's the value of his subhanallah? What Allah will give us? And this young student, come here, inshallah. Stand up. Allah Ta'ala accept. Come, mashallah. Allahu Akbar. Dandi is a very lucrative place, man. Today, enough we give for dunya here. Now a little bit change it for deen. What Allah will give? Huh? You see, dunya indeed, dunya is a shadow. You run after it, you never get it. But you walk away from it, it's following you. Look at the life of Sahaba. Allah, but the moment they gave this, they say, imagine a Sahabi, Allah, Akbar, Amin al-Ummah. What's his name? Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah. When he was passing away, he was crying. Somebody asked him, why are you crying? He said, Rasulullah said, the best amongst you is the one who meets me the way I left him. When he left me, I went right in peace and a little covering over my head. Today I got stables of animals and a big place to stay. How will I face my Nabi Sallallahu? So my brothers, when akhir becomes a reality, dunya becomes valueless. And an akhir is not a reality. Dunya looks so beautiful. And by the grace of Allah, till today, is there anybody who dunya hasn't deceived? Dhoke ka ghar, machhar ka par, makri ka jala, hamo ka ghar. The house of deception, not equal in strength to a spider's web. Allah was smaller than the wing of a mosquito. And at the end, nothing but a house of grief. So all of us here, let's make niyat, inshallah. Look, man, let's make niyat for this work, inshallah. Imagine all our masajid here. I think in Dandi, how many masjids and musallas now? 5. Imagine all of them are full. Imagine in Dandi, what is difficult? That all Muslim babe 5 times salah with Jama'ah. Woman would salat at home. Imagine every one of our home would halqa of ta'aleem. Allahu Akbar. Imagine that child growing up in every college, what the effect of that will be. At every university, what the effect will be. Imagine in our workplace what the effect will be. Oh my God, Maulana Yusuf Rahmatullah used to say, if 50% of Muslims come to Salah, the downfall of Kufr has started. Then he used to say, if 70-75% Muslims on Salah, the uprising of Islam started. Then he used to say, 95% of Muslims on Salah, country after country will come to Islam. Imagine just the command of Salah. And Tabligh is what? To bring people to Salah. Allah give us all tawfiq, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sallam. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم يا اول الاولين يا اخر الاخرين يا ذا القوه المتين يا راحم المساكين يا رحم الراحمين يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث اصلح لنا شاننا كله ولا تكلنا الى انفسنا طرفه عين تكلنا الى ضعف وعوره وذنب وخطيئه اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات اللهم اغفر لي ولوالدي ولاستاذي ولجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات اللهم احفظ امه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم تجاوز امه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم احفظ امه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم Oh guide Allah, we are weak, useless. Allah sinful, Ya Allah. Allah, we beg you forgive us, Ya Allah. Allah, we beg you, correct our yaqeen and iman before we leave this world, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we beg you, Ya Allah. The journey that is to come is long, Ya Allah. Put out your mercy, Ya Allah. We are nothing, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, from the time of our death, Ya Allah. From Sakrat al-Maut, up to Jannat al-Firdaus, make every step easy for us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, without Hisab Kitab, Ya Allah, save us from the pains of the punishment of the Qabr, Ya Allah. And the hard day of Qiyamah, Ya Allah, let us in the Jannat al-Firdaus without Hisab Kitab. Ya Allah, those who are sick, grant them shifa. Those who have other problems, Ya Allah, financial, Ya Allah, whatever, social. Ya Allah, remove all the difficulties of this world. Ya Allah, establish Tawheed in every house, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make us all 5 times the mercy. Ya Allah, remove haram from our lives, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, remove your displeasure, Ya Allah. You guide Allah. Ya Allah, give us obedient children, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, give us caring parents, Ya Allah. Put love and affection between husband and wives, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, remove the difficulties of today's time, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, who else to be turned to besides you, Ya Allah? Ya Allah, please help us, Allah. Ya Allah, we don't know how to ask. Ya Allah, there's nothing that we have to ask, Allah. Ya Allah, accept us, accept our children, accept our prodigies, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make the beautiful people of this place and then opportunity the needs of Hidayat for this town, for this country, in the world, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, take your jamaats out from here. That they come and tell that in every house at least one man is out in your path, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, fill this with nur, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, remove if there is, Ya Allah, if there's fighting between brothers, Ya Allah. Remove that, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, cleanse that heart, Ya Allah. Let there be no excuse for you not to help us, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we don't know how to ask and what to ask. Ya Allah, accept what Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked for. Allahumma inni as'aluka ma as'aluka. وعليكم السلام ورحمة ونعوذ بك من شر مستعاذك من به وعليكم السلام سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون السلام